Kitchen design mistakes are the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to creating content for this channel, because they're everywhere. If you want to see some of them, you can watch some old videos. I will link them in the description. But today, I want to talk about the ones that are top of mind for me, because I'm planning my kitchen and I desperately wanted number 3 in my kitchen, and it's just not going to work. So let's get to it. The first one has a multitude of mistakes in just one gift. When you're shopping for your appliances and you go out there and you buy a new range or a new stove, they are not like grandma's electric slide-in from 30 years ago. These things are so powerful. They generate BTUs or British thermal units, or the ability to kick out heat more so in one burner than she did in her whole oven. We need to accommodate where all that heat's going, where all that grease is going. Le Cornu, Le Canache, Viking, Thermador, those for sure are going to need a powerful hood. Sometimes they have a hood that's the same size. However, that's a commercial hood, and those cost a fortune and they make a ton of noise. But even your KitchenAid cafe appliances, that stove kicks out 2100 BTUs on one burner. So you really need to have a hood that extends beyond the width. When I look at pictures of these hoods, they are spectacular. They are gorgeous. However, they are not following the manufacturer's recommended sizing for the stoves that you buy. And this creates a tremendous amount of problems when you are working in the kitchen. Most of the hoods I see are not wide enough. Most hood manufacturers are going to recommend that the hood is 6 inches wider than the stove or the range. So that means if you have a 30-inch stove, you should have a 36-inch range. If you have a 36-inch stove, you should have a 42-inch range. You get the idea. It should overlap. Reason for that is because grease doesn't understand geometry. It doesn't rise at 90-degree angles. It wafts all over our kitchen, spreading grease and grime and smell everywhere. So the more we can overlap that mess, the better our house will smell. The old hoods that I grew up with didn't extend far enough out in order to catch that grease as well. Ideally, what you want is for your hood to cover the entire stove. That's pretty daunting. It's pretty bulky in a kitchen. But the hood should be deep enough to extend out and cover at least half of that front burner. That way, it's catching more of the grease. And the last part is that it's got to be tall enough. Now, the recommended height is 30 to 36 inches above the range. Sounds great. That would be great for me. It wouldn't be great if you're 6 feet tall. That 22-inch hood is going to be sticking out, and if you're 6'2", it's going to be right at your face. So you have to consider those are general guidelines. If you're taller or shorter, you can make accommodations because it's your house. Another thing I see with the hoods is they butt them right up against the cabinets. And the problem with this is the grease again, and it's also the fact that I can't open the cabinet doors beside it. Now, I was tile shopping this week and it brought up number 2, and that is your outlets. The outlets on the backsplash are the bane of my existence. The electrician always sneaks in the middle of the night and he puts them right at the end run of where you want tiles or somewhere where it's inconvenient. They're unsightly. They mess up the view of our beautiful new tiles. And I love the idea of these outlet strips that go underneath the cabinets. They have USB, they have lights, they have plugs. Sounds like the answer to everything. It'll make the tile job much easier, clean, no cuts. Problem is, when you plug stuff in, there's that little space between the top of the appliance and the bottom of the cabinets, and you're always going to see a wire. So better alternatives are to do standard outlets, to turn the outlets on the side. If you have subway tile, you can incorporate it with that, or to use a pop-up outlet where they disappear into the wall when you don't need them and they pop up when you do. Chances are most of the outlets are going to be hidden behind the appliances that are plugged in front of them. But if you have appliances that are unsightly or you don't want to see them, a great solution are these plastic outlet covers. And your tile slides in there, so it will be elevated, but it'll give you the visual of just clean tile across. The wires hanging would drive me crazy, and unplugging them and plugging them back in every time and reprogramming the timer on my coffee maker, that ain't gonna happen. Now, I love a good pantry. However, the door to it is usually unsightly and there's enough doors in the kitchen. So I was really, really excited about doing these integrated pantry doors where it just looks like part of the cabinetry and it disappears when it's not in use. Here's the problem. Those doors are 3/4 of an inch thick. They are going to warp, bend, twist, pull out, fail. It's just the way it is. A 3/4 inch piece of wood, even at 18 inches wide and 6 feet high, it will fail. It will buckle, it will twist, it will warp. It doesn't work. I wish it did, but it doesn't. You need a real door on a pivot if you want it to disappear, and you buy panels from your cabinet maker and you stick them on the door. I've talked with many people that have these doors, and the problem is that the pantry takes so much wear and tear that these doors fail faster. They can do strapping, they can do all kinds of extra long screws and all of that stuff. It doesn't work. Most of the time, those 3/4 inch ones I see pinned open because they're too flimsy for kids to be going in and out. I love them, but they're just gonna break my heart in the long run. A regular household door is gonna be 1 3/4 inches. To ask a piece of wood that's 3/4 of an inch thick to stand up 6 feet tall by 18 inches wide, it's just not gonna happen. If you made it this far, I got a bonus for you. Open shelves or closed storage. Both of them are out. You need to do things in moderation. Too much of a good thing is never a good thing. As far as closed storage goes, it's going to cost you a fortune. Anything above the second shelf is pretty much useless for anybody 5'6" or under. When you line your walls with upper cabinets, it doesn't give the eye a place to rest. It doesn't give us any visual break from all of that. Too much is not good. Now, when it comes to open shelves, lovely. Love the idea, a little display, a plant, maybe a platter. But for everyday items, if I put those dishes away a few days ago and I take them down again, dust is a real thing. So I'm gonna have to wash that out before I use it. Now, if I wanna make more work in my kitchen, I'll just call my kids. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.